as I reached for my daughter's hand in the bustling grocery store parking lot. My pregnant wife's scream, a chilling blend of pure terror and agony, pierced the air, and my blood ran cold. Grace lay on the asphalt, her swollen belly exposed, as four menacing figures encircled her like predators. One of them had his boot poised, ready to stomp, while Luna, my 8-year-old, shrieked words that still echo in my mind. "Help me! Somebody help my mommy!" Yet everyone around seemed paralyzed, mere spectators to the horror unfolding. I was still a frantic 50 feet away, running, but feeling agonizingly slow. The parking lot stretched endlessly as my legs burned with exertion, yet time seemed to move in a torturous slow motion. The leader, his neck adorned with a serpentine tattoo, clutched Grace's purse in one hand and reached for her diamond necklace with the other. The very one I had given her on our 10th anniversary. Grace desperately tried to shield her stomach, curling into a protective ball, but another thug seized her hair, yanking her head back. "Please," she pleaded, tears streaking her face. "I'm 7 months pregnant. Just take it. Take everything." "Shut up," the man with the snake tattoo spat, and I watched, helpless, as he drew back his fist. It was then that a deafening crash, the sound of shattering glass, ripped through the air, changing everything. Ranger, my K9 partner from the SEALs, had been waiting in the back of my truck. 90 pounds of pure Belgian Malinois, meticulously trained to neutralize threats. He had witnessed the entire ordeal through the window, and something within him had snapped. The window exploded outwards as Ranger launched himself like a missile, covering the distance with an astonishing speed I could never match. Snake Tattoo never saw him coming. One moment he was menacing my wife. The next he was on the ground, Ranger's powerful jaws clamped around his throat. Not in a lethal grip, for Ranger was too expertly trained for that, but with just enough pressure to convey the grim reality that one wrong move meant death. The man's eyes widened in terror. His entire body stiffened, and a guttural, inhuman sound escaped him. The other 3 thugs scattered instantly, like roaches fleeing a sudden light. Finally reaching Grace, I dropped to my knees beside her. "Baby, are you okay? Is the baby okay?" My hands trembled as I helped her sit up. Luna crashed into us both, sobbing uncontrollably into Grace's shoulder. "I'm okay," Grace whispered, her own hands shaking as she tentatively touched her belly. I think he's okay." Behind us, Ranger maintained his vigilant hold. Snake Tattoo remained motionless, not even breathing heavily, lying there, eyes fixed on the sky, with Ranger's teeth pressed against his jugular. The dog's eyes met mine, awaiting my command. "Good boy. Hold." Sirens wailed in the distance. Someone had finally called 911. People, emerging from their stunned inaction, began pulling out phones, recording the scene. A woman hurried over with a bottle of water, while an older man inquired if we needed help. Where were all these people 3 minutes ago? I wondered bitterly. "Sir, you need to call off your dog." A security guard jogged up, hand on his radio. "He's fine where he is," I retorted coldly, standing and helping Grace to her feet, my arm wrapped protectively around her waist. She was shaking so violently, I feared she might collapse. The police arrived, 2 squad cars, lights flashing. Officers leaped out, hands instinctively on their weapons, until they comprehended the scene before them. One officer, a younger man with a shaved head, immediately recognized me. "Ethan Cross from the naval base," he stated, And I nodded. That's my canine partner. He's holding the suspect who attacked my pregnant wife. The officer's expression shifted from alert readiness to understanding. Ranger, right? Hell of a dog. They approached cautiously. Ranger held his position until I issued the release command. Out, heel. Instantly, he released his grip and trotted to my side, tongue lolling, tail wagging, as if he had just finished a game of fetch, not saved my family's lives. The police cuffed Snake Tattoo and his companions. They apprehended 2 others attempting to flee. As they loaded him into the cruiser, Snake Tattoo locked eyes with me. Blood seeped from his neck where Ranger had bitten him, but it was his expression that sent shivers down my spine. Not fear, not relief, but pure, cold, calculated rage. He said nothing, yet his eyes communicated a chilling message. This isn't over. One of the officers, a woman with gray hair pulled back in a tight bun, took our statements. Grace could barely speak, repeatedly touching her belly, checking for blood, listening for movement. Luna clung to my hand, her small fingers icy cold. We'll need you to come down to the station later for official statements, the officer said, handing me her card. But you should get your wife to the hospital now. Make sure the baby's okay. I nodded, but an unsettling feeling crept up my spine. The way Snake Tattoo had looked at me, and the chilling smile he'd worn as they closed the car door. As we drove to the emergency room, Grace beside me and Luna in the back, I repeatedly checked the rearview mirror. Ranger sat alert in the cargo area, ears perked, eyes scanning. He felt it too. Whatever had just transpired in that parking lot was not a random mugging. The look in that man's eyes confirmed this was merely the prelude. At the hospital, a nurse immediately expedited us upon hearing pregnant and assault. They hooked Grace up to monitors, checking the baby's heartbeat and for contractions. I stood there, holding her hand, listening to the steady, comforting thump, thump, thump of our son's heart. He was safe for now, yet I couldn't banish Snake Tattoo's face from my thoughts. The way he had looked at Luna, the unspoken threat veiled in his silence. My phone buzzed. An unknown number. Stepping into the hallway, I answered. Silence. Just breathing on the other end. Then a low, guttural voice. Your dog made a big mistake, Seal. The line went dead. My blood turned to ice. I stared at my phone, the dial tone echoing in my ears, even though the call had ended. Your dog made a big mistake, Seal. The words reverberated in my head like a warning siren. Grace appeared in the hospital room doorway, her face pale. Ethan, what's wrong? I forced a smile, slipping the phone into my pocket. Nothing? Just checking in with the base. The lie was bitter, but I couldn't tell her. Not yet. Not while she was attached to monitors, our unborn son's heartbeat filling the room. The doctor delivered good news. No signs of trauma, strong baby vitals, no contractions. Grace could go home that night. Yet, as we exited the hospital, I felt unseen eyes on us. Every shadow seemed deeper, every parked car a potential threat. Luna clutched my hand so tightly it hurt. She hadn't spoken since we left the parking lot, simply stared ahead with wide, frightened eyes that tore at my heart. At home, I double-locked every door and checked every window. Ranger shadowed me through the house, his tail low, his body tense. He knew something was amiss too. Military dogs possess instincts most people can't comprehend. They can sense danger before it materializes. That night, Grace, exhausted by the day's stress, fell asleep around 9. Luna curled between us, refusing to go to her own room. I lay in the dark, listening to their breathing, watching the shadows dance on the ceiling. At 2 a.m., my phone buzzed again. Unknown number. This time, it was a photo. My house, taken from across the street, illuminated by the night. My blood ran cold again. I slipped carefully out of bed, grabbed my phone, and headed downstairs. Ranger was already at the front window, a low growl rumbling in his throat. I pulled back the curtain an inch, scanning the street. Empty. No cars, no movement. Whoever took that photo was gone. I called Cole Bennett, my SEAL team buddy. He answered on the second ring, his voice alert despite the hour. Talk to me. I need eyes on my house tonight. Someone's watching us. On my way. No questions. That's what I loved about Cole. 10 years of deployments together forged unbreakable trust. Give me 20 minutes. While I waited, I pulled up the security footage of the parking lot attack. The police had sent me a copy for my records. I watched it 3 times, scrutinizing every detail. The way Snake Tattoo moved, the coordinated actions of the 4 thugs. This wasn't random. They had specifically targeted Grace. But why? Cole arrived in his black truck, tactical gear visible in the back. He looked every inch the operator, 6 feet 3 inches, built like a linebacker, with eyes that missed nothing. Fill me in. I showed him the threatening call, the photo, everything. His jaw tightened. We need to find out who this guy is. Running the Snake Tattoo through databases. Already did, I said, pulling up my laptop. Derek Voss, multiple priors, assault, armed robbery, drug possession. But get this. I clicked to the next page. His brother is Victor Caney, runs the Southside Skulls, biggest gang in the city. Cole whistled softly. You didn't just mess with some random thug. You embarrassed his family. Ranger embarrassed him, I corrected, and saved my wife's life doing it. Either way, Victor Caney isn't the forgiving type. Cole pulled up his own files. I've heard about him through channels. Military intelligence flagged his crew last year for possible weapons trafficking. They move serious firepower. AR-15, explosives, even grenade launchers. My stomach dropped. So, Derek goes after my pregnant wife. Ranger stops him. And now, his big brother wants revenge. That's the way these guys think. Honor, reputation. You made them look weak in front of witnesses. That video probably hit social media within an hour. He was right. I pulled up Facebook and searched dog attack parking lot. There it was. 40,000 views. The comments were brutal. That dog is a hero. Those thugs got what they deserved. Navy SEAL's family protected. This makes it worse, I muttered. Victor Caney sees this. Sees his little brother getting taken down by a dog. Sees everyone laughing. He's gonna want blood. Cole finished my thought. The question is when and how. Over the next 3 days, I transformed our house into a fortress. Security cameras on every corner, motion sensors gracing the lawn, and new locks adorning every door and window. I even went as far as installing a panic room in the basement, complete with a reinforced door, a separate phone line, and emergency supplies. Grace observed my efforts with a troubled gaze. Ethan, you're frightening me, she confessed. It was just a mugging. The police arrested them. Calmly, I shared a chilling detail. Derek made bail yesterday, and his brother commands the city's largest gang. What are we going to do? We're going to be judicious, meticulous, and we're going to trust that I can ensure your safety. I assured her, pulling her close, feeling her tremor against me. I didn't endure 12 years as a SEAL just to lose my family to some street rascals. Yet, that very night challenged my conviction about our security. I awoke to Rangers' sharp, aggressive barks, signaling an undeniable threat. Grabbing the Glock from my nightstand, I advanced to the window. 3 vehicles were parked across the street. Men with faces obscured by hoodies lurking beside them, all fixated on my residence. One of them raised his phone, and a flash illuminated the dark as he captured an image. Then, they re-entered their cars and departed. The message resonated clearly. We know where you reside. We know your family. We can reach you at our discretion. The following morning, Cole initiated a check on the license plates. All 3 vehicles were registered to known affiliates of the Southside Skulls. Victor Caney was methodically making his move, piece by piece, subtly informing me that I was being pursued. At dawn, Grace discovered me in the kitchen, staring into my coffee. "You didn't sleep," she observed. "Couldn't," I admitted, showing her the security footage from the previous night. Her face blanched. "Ethan, we need to leave. Go someplace safe." "Fleeing won't help. They'll simply track us," I countered, taking her hands. "But I have a concept. Cole and I are going to rendezvous with someone who knows Victor Caney, to acquire inside information, to deduce his plans." "Who?" she asked. I hesitated. "Jackson Ford, my erstwhile high school friend. He's a part of the Skulls now." Grace's eyes widened. "You're going to place your trust in a gang member." "I'm going to trust the boy I grew up with," I clarified. "The one who saved my life in 10th grade when I was ambushed after football practice." "Jackson didn't choose this life. It chose him. If anyone can assist us, it's him." That afternoon, I met Jackson at a diner on the east side. He appeared older than his 32 years, with weary eyes, scarred knuckles, and a haunted expression. But a flicker of softness crossed his face upon seeing me. "Ethan Cross," he began. "I heard about what transpired with Grace." "Then you comprehend my presence here," I responded. Jackson nervously scanned the surroundings. "Victor is serious about this man. Derek is his younger brother, his only remaining kin. You subjected him to public humiliation, and now Victor intends to make a statement." "A statement how?" Jackson's voice dropped to a whisper. "He's orchestrating something significant. I lack all the specific details, but I overheard him discussing your daughter, about delivering a message that nobody disrespects the Skulls and escapes unscathed." My blood ran cold. "If you harm Luna—" "I'm not going to harm anyone," Jackson interjected. "That's precisely why I'm informing you. I owe you, Ethan. You secured that garage job for me after high school, keeping me out of trouble for years until—" He trailed off, a flash of pain crossing his face. "Until what?" I pressed. "Until they murdered my sister," he whispered. "They termed it an accident, but I know better. Victor manipulates people, controls them, and now I'm ensnared." I leaned forward. "Assist me in stopping him. Assist me in safeguarding my family." Jackson remained silent for a prolonged moment before slowly nodding. "I'll endeavor to, but Ethan, if Victor discovers I'm helping you, I'm dead." "I'll ensure your safety," I promised. "Nobody is safe from Victor Kane," he retorted. As I drove home, Jackson's words echoed in my mind. My phone vibrated. Another message from an unknown number. This time, it was a photograph of Luna at school, playing on the playground. My grip tightened on the steering wheel. knuckles turning white. They had just crossed an irreversible line. That afternoon, I pulled Luna out of school, marching directly into her classroom, informing the teacher it was an emergency, and carrying my daughter out. She didn't inquire why. The expression on my face communicated everything she needed to know. Grace met us at the door, her face pale. What transpired? I showed her the image on my phone. Luna at school, on the swings. Someone had been observing our 8-year-old daughter. Grace's hand instinctively went to her pregnant belly, her knees buckling. I caught her, guiding her to the couch. They were at her school, Ethan, where children are supposed to be safe. I know, I replied, kneeling before her. But Cole is installing additional security cameras. Jackson is supplying us with information. And I'm not letting Luna out of my sight again. We should notify the police, she urged. Victor Caney has law enforcement on his payroll. If we report this, he'll be aware within the hour. I took her hands. Trust me, I can manage this. But even as I uttered the words, doubt crept in. This wasn't Afghanistan. This was home, and the adversary was ubiquitous. That night, I sat in the living room, monitoring the security feeds. Every vehicle, every shadow. Ranger lay at my feet, his ears alert. My finger never left the trigger of my Glock. At 3 a.m., Grace joined me. You can't sustain this indefinitely, she observed. Observe me, Ethan. You're exhausting yourself completely. I'll rest when you're safe, I stated. She fell silent. Then what if we simply departed, relocated somewhere Victor cannot locate us? He would find us. Men like him do not yield, I countered, looking at her. The only way to conclude this is to end him, legally. Get him apprehended where he cannot reach us. 2 days of living like prisoners passed. New locks, motion sensors, security cameras on every corner. I had even constructed a panic room in the basement, complete with reinforced doors and emergency provisions. Then Grace went into labor. We were having breakfast when she suddenly doubled over, gasping. Water gushed onto the kitchen floor. Ethan, the baby? At 7 months pregnant, it was too soon. I grabbed my keys, assisting her into the car. Luna's face turned white with apprehension. Is Mommy dying? No, darling, I reassured her. Your brother just desires to greet us prematurely. At the hospital, they rushed Grace into emergency surgery. I stood outside the operating room, helpless. Luna clung to my leg, weeping. Daddy, I'm frightened. Me too, sweetheart. Me too, I admitted. Cole arrived swiftly, bearing coffee and Luna's stuffed bear. Any news? He inquired. They're operating now, I replied. He scanned the hallway with practiced eyes. I have 2 men stationed outside. No one gets in. Luna tugged at my sleeve. Daddy, those men appear menacing. I followed her gaze. 3 men in hospital scrubs were near the vending machines. Something felt amiss, too tense, too aware. Cole noticed them too, his hand moving toward his concealed weapon. Stay with Luna. He approached casually. The 3 men observed him, exchanged glances, then walked away. Cole followed them to the stairwell, returning 5 minutes later. They're gone, but Ethan, those weren't hospital staff. Wrong scrubs, no badges, and one had a skull tattoo. My blood ran cold. They're here. Victor must have known Grace would require medical attention. How could he know? I whispered. Cole's expression darkened. Either he's watching more closely than we assumed, or someone is feeding him information. My phone vibrated. Jackson, meet me. Parking garage level 3. 5 minutes. Alone. I showed Cole. Could be a trap or intel we need. I looked at Luna, then at the operating room doors. Stay with them. Protect my family, Ethan. That's an order. I took the elevator down, Glock concealed beneath my jacket. Ranger remained with Cole. My family needed him more. The parking garage was silent. Too silent. Every shadow harbored a potential threat. Jackson emerged from behind a van, hands raised. Easy, I'm alone. Speak, I commanded. Victor is making his move tonight. 6 men ready to seize Luna while you're preoccupied here. His hands trembled. I'm telling you this because I'm finished being part of something wicked. Because my sister died, and I was too weak to prevent it. Because you're the only friend who ever cared about me. Why should I trust you? I challenged. Because there's more, he continued, stepping closer. One of Victor's men in this hospital isn't just observing. He's waiting for your baby. They're going to abduct your newborn son. Hold him for ransom. Everything went red. Who? Marcus Webb. He claims he's FBI, tracking Victor, but he's corrupt. Been on Victor's payroll for 3 years. Agent Marcus Webb, the man we trusted. I raced back to the elevator, my heart pounding. Cole met me on the maternity floor. Where's Luna? With the nurses? What? I exclaimed. Webb is corrupt. He works for Victor. They're taking Luna and the baby. We turned toward the nurses' station. Luna wasn't there. A nurse looked up. Your daughter. Agent Webb escorted her to the cafeteria for food. Said you approved? My world imploded. They had taken her right under our noses while I was downstairs, while Grace was in surgery, giving birth. Cole was already on his radio. Lock down the building now. 8-year-old girl, blonde hair, pink jacket, armed suspect claiming to be FBI. I ran toward the cafeteria, Glock drawn. Hospital staff screamed, scattering from my path. I didn't care. My daughter was gone. The cafeteria was empty save for kitchen staff. No Luna, no Webb. My phone buzzed. Unknown number. A video. Luna crying, her hands zip-tied. Behind her stood a man in an FBI jacket, Marcus Webb. His voice was chilling. You disgraced the wrong family, Seal. Now you'll pay the price. The video cut to black. The video replayed in my mind. Luna's terrified face, her hands bound, Marcus Webb's cold voice echoing, You disgraced the wrong family, Seal. Cole gripped my shoulder as I stared at my phone. We'll locate her. I'm calling in the team. No time, I retorted, already moving toward the elevator. They can't be far. Webb couldn't have exited the building that swiftly, with security imposing a lockdown. Where are you headed? He asked. Basement, service tunnels. That's how they're moving her. I had scrutinized this hospital when Grace first became pregnant, committing every exit and entry point to memory. An old military habit. Always know your escape routes. Cole followed, radio in hand. All units, suspect heading to basement level, armed and dangerous. Hostage is an 8-year-old female. We took the stairs 3 at a time, Ranger leading the way, his nose to the ground, tracking. His experience with Luna was extensive enough to recognize her unique scent. The basement, a labyrinth of maintenance tunnels, laundry facilities, and forgotten storage areas, presented an ideal scenario for an abduction. Ranger halted before a door conspicuously marked "Authorized personnel only." A low growl rumbled in his chest. His body taut with apprehension. They were closing in. I propelled the door open, my weapon poised. The corridor beyond was deserted, yet fresh footprints marred the dust. Small ones, clearly Luna's, intermingled with larger boot impressions. This way, I muttered, following the trail, my heart thrumming. Every fleeting second was critical. Every blind corner a potential ambush. The hallway abruptly terminated at a loading dock. 3 black SUVs idled, their engines purring. And there, being forcibly guided towards the central vehicle, was Luna. "Daddy!" she shrieked upon seeing me. Marcus Webspun, his FBI badge still prominently displayed on his belt, stood beside her. The irony was palpable. A federal agent utilizing his authority to abduct children for a crime boss. He yanked Luna in front of him, using her as a human shield, a gun pressed menacingly to her head. "Drop it, Cross, or I'll splash this dock with your daughter's brains." I froze, my weapon still elevated. Cole attempted to flank him, seeking an angle, but Webb, sharp and cunning, continuously positioned Luna between us. "You eliminated 4 of Victor's men in Kandahar," Webb stated, his voice disconcertingly calm. 2019, a Black Ops mission that never surfaced in the news. Victor's cousin was among them. He operated as a contractor, clandestinely relaying intelligence to the Taliban. You and your SEAL team executed him without a trial. A chilling sensation snaked through me. That mission was highly classified. How does Victor know all this? He's been meticulously plotting this for 6 years, observing, waiting, constructing his empire so that, when the moment arrived, he could utterly demolish you, Webb declared, a smirk playing on his lips. "Your wife's encounter in the parking lot? That wasn't a random event." Derek willingly allowed himself to be apprehended, solely to lure you out, to initiate the terror. This isn't just about vengeance for a terrorist collaborator. This is about family, something you're on the verge of losing. Webb began to retreat towards the SUV, still dragging Luna. "Victor intends for you to suffer first, to witness your world crumble. Then he'll dispatch you slowly." Ranger growled, poised to strike. But I couldn't risk it, not with a gun held to Luna's head. "Let her go. Take me instead." Webb scoffed. "You believe you possess bargaining power. Your wife just gave birth upstairs. A premature infant in the NECU. How long do you imagine it takes for someone to enter that room?" At that instant, a gunshot reverberated through the loading dock. Webb staggered, his grip on Luna momentarily faltering. She broke free, scrambling towards me. I caught her, shielding her behind my body. As Webb collapsed, a crimson stain expanded across his FBI jacket from a shoulder wound. Jackson Ford emerged from behind a concrete pillar, a smoking gun in his hand. "Told you I was finished with Victor's world." Cole secured Webb while I held Luna. She trembled, tears soaking my chest. "I was so scared, Daddy." "I know, baby. I know. But you're safe now." "Not yet. She isn't," Jackson interjected urgently. "Webb was telling the truth. Victor has someone in the NICU right now. We must move." I entrusted Luna to Cole. "Get her somewhere secure. Ranger stays with her." "Ethan, you can't." "That's my son up there. My wife." I was already sprinting back towards the stairwell. Nobody was going to touch my family. Jackson followed closely. "I can navigate you past Victor's men. They're unaware I've switched sides yet." We ascended to the maternity floor via elevator, my mind racing. Grace had just delivered. Our son Owen was battling for his life in an incubator. And somewhere on this floor, a killer lay in wait. The NICU was eerily quiet. Too quiet. Nurses moved methodically between incubators, verifying monitors. Everything appeared normal, yet my instincts shrieked danger. There, Jackson whispered, gesturing towards a doctor in scrubs positioned near Owen's incubator. That's no doctor. That's Tommy Slice Martinez, Victor's primary enforcer. I moved swiftly, closing the distance before Slice could react. I seized him by the throat, slamming him against the wall. Touch my son, and I'll make you plead for death. Slice grinned, blood smeared on his teeth. Too late, Seal. The baby's already dosed. Horror surged through me. What did you give him? Insulin. Sufficient to crash his blood sugar in approximately 10 minutes. By the time they discerned what happened, he shrugged. A tragic accident. Premature babies succumb all the time. I struck him forcefully. His head snapped back, but his laughter persisted. Jackson pulled me away. The nurses! We must inform them immediately. I rushed to Owen's incubator, where a nurse was checking vitals. My son was injected with insulin. You need to test his blood sugar without delay. The nurse's eyes widened. What? Who would... I watched through the transparent plastic as my minuscule son struggled for breath, his tiny chest rising and falling too rapidly. 1 day old, already fighting for his existence because of my past. The nurse pricked his heel, performed the test. Her face paled. His glucose is plummeting rapidly. We require dextrose now. The NICU erupted into controlled pandemonium. Doctors and nurses swarmed Owen's incubator, establishing 4 lines, administering medications. I stood motionless, helpless, observing my newborn son wage a battle I couldn't fight for him. Grace appeared beside me in a wheelchair, still recovering from surgery, her face streaked with tears. What happened? They said Luna was kidnapped. Luna's safe. Webb's in custody, but Victor's man poisoned Owen. Her hand flew to her mouth. No, please God, no. Together, we watched the medical team work. Minutes excruciatingly stretched into hours. Owen's monitors beeped frantically, then slowly, agonizingly, began to stabilize. A doctor approached, exhaustion etched on his face. He's going to be all right. We caught it in time. Another 5 minutes. He left the sentence unfinished. Grace collapsed against me, sobbing, relief, and terror merging into an emotion I couldn't articulate. Jackson stood nearby, guilt evident on his face. I'm sorry. I should have warned you sooner. Should have done more. You saved both my children today, I stated quietly. That's enough. But even as I uttered the words, I knew this ordeal was far from over. Victor Kane remained at large, still strategizing, still hunting. And now, it had become deeply personal for both of us. 3 days elapsed in the hospital. 3 days of observing Owen's struggle in his incubator while Luna steadfastly refused to leave my side, and Grace recuperated from surgery. 3 days of anticipation, waiting for Victor Kane's next move. Cole stationed guards outside our room. Jackson vanished into protective custody. Marcus Webb, singing like a canary, divulged details of Victor's operations from a federal holding cell. Yet, none of it felt adequate, for Victor was still at large, still breathing, still plotting. On the 4th morning, a genuine FBI agent arrived. Special Agent Sarah Chun from the Organized Crime Division. She was young, sharp-eyed, possessing a no-nonsense demeanor that brought to mind my former commanding officer in the SEALS. Mr. Cross, we have a problem, she stated, closing the door behind her. Marcus Webb provided us with locations for 3 of Victor Kane's safe houses. We raided them 2 hours ago, and all were empty, wiped clean, no evidence, no weapons, no gang members. Her jaw tightened. Victor knew we were coming. A chill permeated my veins. Webb has a partner, someone else feeding Victor information. That's our assessment. Agent Chun produced a tablet displaying surveillance photographs. We've been monitoring Victor's known associates. Yesterday, this man met with him at a diner downtown. I stared at the photo. My stomach clenched. The man sitting opposite Victor Kane, shaking his hand, was Cole Bennett, my best friend, my SEAL brother, the man I entrusted with my family's very lives. No, I shook my head emphatically. That's impossible. Cole's been with me for 12 years. He saved my life in Kandahar. He has a younger sister with stage 4 cancer. Agent Chun interjected quietly. Medical bills exceeding $300,000. Insurance won't cover experimental treatment. And 3 weeks ago, Victor Kane made a very generous donation to her care fund. The room spun around me. You're saying Victor bought him? I'm saying Cole Bennett has motive and means, and he's had access to every piece of information about your family for the past week. She paused. Where is he right now? I checked my phone. Cole had texted an hour ago. Taking Luna to cafeteria for breakfast. Ranger with us. Back soon. Terror shot through me like lightning. He's got my daughter. Agent Chun was already on her radio. All units. Possible kidnapping in progress. Suspect is Cole Bennett, former Navy SEAL, armed and dangerous. Hostage is 8-year-old Luna Cross. Move now. I sprinted down the hallway, past bewildered nurses and doctors, taking the stairs 4 at a time. Grace's voice trailed behind me, screaming my name, but I couldn't halt. Luna was with a traitor, a man who had sold us out for money. The cafeteria was half filled with morning visitors. I scanned every face, every table. No Luna, no Cole, no Ranger. A kitchen worker approached nervously. You looking for the little blonde girl? The big guy took her out the side exit about 5 minutes ago. Said something about getting fresh air. The side exit led to the parking garage. The same garage where Jackson had cautioned me about Webb. I burst through the doors, weapon drawn, oblivious to who saw. Cole's truck was on level 2, its engine running, and there, standing beside it, with Luna's hand in his, was my best friend. Cole. I raised my Glock, my hand steady despite the fury raging within me. Let her go. He turned slowly. Luna's eyes were wide with confusion. Daddy, what's happening? It's okay, baby. Just stay very still. I kept the gun aimed at Cole's chest. I know about Victor. I know what he paid you. Something flickered across Cole's face. Guilt, pain, regret. Ethan, listen to me. You sold us out. My pregnant wife, my newborn son. You enabled them to poison Owen. My finger tightened on the trigger. Give me one reason not to end you right here. Because I'm not working for Victor. Cole's voice was calm, steady. I'm working for the DA. I froze. What? 3 months ago, the DEA approached me. They knew about my sister's cancer. Knew I was vulnerable. I was tasked with infiltrating Victor's organization, feigning disloyalty, and providing him with fabricated intelligence while covertly gathering evidence. From his jacket, he slowly retrieved a badge. Authentic DA credentials. Every action I've taken has been orchestrated to shield your family, all while diligently constructing a case against Victor. You're fabricating this, I retorted. Verify with Agent Shun. She'll corroborate my identity. I'm UC-47 in their records, a deep cover operative. He gestured toward Luna. If my intention was abduction, why would I expose her in a public parking garage in broad daylight? Why not a secluded remote location? My thoughts raced, and a realization struck me. It made perfect sense. Cole had always displayed sharp intellect and strategic thinking. But I witnessed a photograph of you yesterday, meeting with Victor while wired. The DEA has the full conversation on record. Victor believes I'm his internal source, Cole clarified. He disclosed his next move to me. Cole's gaze intensified. He's orchestrating an attack on your home tonight. 6 shooters, a full-scale assault. His objective is to murder you in front of Grace and your children. A means to make an example. Agent Shun emerged from the stairwell, weapon drawn. Stand down, Cross. He speaks the truth. Cole Bennett is one of ours. A tumultuous mix of relief and fury surged within me. I lowered my weapon. You couldn't have informed me? Deep cover operations demand absolute secrecy. Not even allies are privy, Cole explained. He released Luna, who immediately sought refuge in my arms. I embraced her tightly. If I had told you, your reaction would have alerted Victor. He observes everything, Ethan. Every expression, every phone call. So, what's our next move? I inquired. Now, we turn his plan against him, Cole declared, pulling up a blueprint on his phone. Victor anticipates striking your residence tonight at 8 p.m. However, we'll be prepared. A DEA tactical squad, an FBI assault unit, and sufficient firepower to permanently neutralize the Southside Skulls. Agent Shun affirmed, we will relocate your family to a secure location and use your home as bait. When Victor and his crew arrive, we'll apprehend them all. What about his other associates, his network? I pressed. We have warrants prepared for simultaneous execution across the city, 52 targets. Once Victor is in custody, we will dismantle his entire operation, she stated, her expression grave. But we require your cooperation. Act naturally. Return home tonight, as if nothing is amiss. If Victor senses a trap, he will vanish once more. My gaze fell upon Luna, her small face nestled against my shoulder, then to Owen, fighting for life in his upstairs incubator, and Grace, recovering from surgery. My family had endured immense suffering, a consequence of my past. The killing of Victor's cousin 6 years prior in a war zone half a world away. I'll do it, I said softly, but I want to be present when you apprehend him. Cole offered a grim smile. Wouldn't have it any other way, brother. That afternoon, we relocated Grace and Owen to a secure federal facility under guard. Luna accompanied them, her cries stemming from her inability to comprehend why her daddy couldn't join them. I promised her I would see her tomorrow, assuring her this nightmare would finally conclude. Jackson paid one last visit before disappearing into witness protection. Thank you for believing I could transcend what Victor had made me. You saved my children, and that is all that truly matters. As the sun began to set, I returned to my empty house with Ranger. The DEA had meticulously wired every room with cameras and microphones. Snipers were strategically positioned on neighboring rooftops, and tactical teams lay concealed in vans down the street. Yet to any observer, it appeared to be an ordinary evening. I sat in my living room, lights illuminated, the television playing softly. Ranger lay at my feet, tense and alert, sensing the impending events. At 7:55, my phone vibrated. Cole, movement on the south side. 6 vehicles. Victor's in the lead car. This is it. I checked my Glock one final time. Loaded. Safety off. Ready. Promptly at 8 p.m. My front door violently exploded inward. 6 men stormed through, but they were not gang members. They were FBI. Behind them, Victor Kane entered, impeccably dressed in an expensive suit, appearing more like a businessman than a killer. Where is he? Victor's voice was frigid. Then, the lights blazed on. 20 red laser sights converged on Victor and his men. Windows shattered as DA teams rappelled through the lawn, now teeming with federal agents. FBI, drop your weapons! Within moments, 5 shooters were face down, their hands zip-tied. Only Victor remained standing, calm and composed. I stepped from the kitchen. It's over. 52 arrests across the city. Your organization is finished. Victor smiled. You genuinely believe this concludes anything? I have judges, senators, and CEOs under my influence. I'll be free by morning. Agent Shun cuffed him. Victor Kane, you are under arrest for conspiracy to murder, kidnapping, and drug trafficking. Life without parole. As they dragged him toward the van, Victor's eyes met mine. You murdered my cousin in Kandahar. Did you know he had a wife, 3 children? You executed him without trial. He was supplying intelligence to the Taliban, I countered. He was a peace negotiator, bridging tribal leaders and coalition forces. But your commanding officer wanted a terrorist's scalp. Victor's smile twisted into a bitter sneer. Examine the files, Cross. You murdered an innocent man. They shoved him into the van, but his words reverberated in my mind. Cole gripped my shoulder. Don't let him manipulate you. You followed orders. 3 days later, Grace called at dawn. Turn on the news. Victor Kane had been released on bail. A federal judge had deemed the evidence circumstantial. Bail was set at $10 million, and someone had posted it within an hour. How? Grace's voice trembled. They promised us. He controls influential people. We're leaving the state now. Grace stared at her phone, her face ashen. There's something I need to tell you first. She showed me an old photograph. 2 young girls in front of a house. One was Grace, the other looked familiar. That's my sister Isabel. The name struck me like a physical blow. Isabel Kane, Victor's wife. And you never told me? I severed ties with her 15 years ago when she married him. My parents disowned her. We pretended she didn't exist. Tears streamed down her face. I thought if I ignored it, it wouldn't matter. That's why he targeted you. This is family. A searing betrayal burned in my chest. You allowed me to walk into this blind? My phone rang. An unknown number, a woman's voice, desperate, cried. Ethan, it's Isabel. I need to meet you alone. It's about Luna. If you touch my daughter, I'm trying to help. Victor's planning something far worse. Meet me at the old pier on Market Street. Noon. Come alone. The line went dead. Cole shook his head. It's a trap. Perhaps. But what if it isn't? I looked at Grace. Would she betray you? I don't know, Grace replied, her voice strained. Victor changes people. I'm coming with you, Grace declared. She's my sister. At noon, we stood on the abandoned pier. Cole and DEA agents waited nearby, concealed. Isabel emerged from behind a shipping container, her face bruised, one eye swollen shut, moving cautiously as if in pain. Grace, she whispered. "I'm so sorry." Grace stepped forward. "What happened?" "Victor happened. When he made bail, he blamed me for the arrest." She touched her bruised face. He's not the man I married. Or perhaps he always was." "Why call us?" I asked, scanning for potential threats. "Victor plans to bomb the federal courthouse tomorrow during his hearing, to kill everyone inside, judges, prosecutors, and then disappear. A plane is waiting to take him to Mexico, then South America." She produced a flash drive. "This is everything: flight plans, bank accounts, safe houses, everything needed to stop him." Grace reached for it, but I intervened. "Why are you giving us this?" Isabel's eyes filled with tears. "Because I have a daughter too. She's 6. Victor doesn't know. I gave her up before we married, but if he finds out—" She looked at Grace. "I saw what he did to Luna, what he almost did to your baby. I won't allow him to harm more children." Grace took the flash drive. "Come with us. Witness protection." "No, I deserve whatever consequences come, but please save your family." She disappeared into the warehouses. Cole approached with Agent Shun. "We recorded everything. If the intel is solid, we can move tonight." I looked at Grace, seeing the pain in her eyes. "Your sister just saved us, or damned us," Grace whispered. "With Victor, you never truly know." The flash drive contained an exhaustive amount of information. Flight manifests, bank routing numbers, safe house addresses across 3 countries, and detailed blueprints of the federal courthouse with Victor's planned bomb locations marked in red. Agent Shun spread the files across the conference table at FBI headquarters. "He's targeting the underground parking garage. C4 explosives wired to collapse the entire East Wing during his preliminary hearing. Casualties are estimated at 200 people." My stomach churned. "When?" "Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. She looked at Cole and me. "We're evacuating the courthouse under the guise of a gas leak, moving Victor's hearing to a secure facility. But we need to catch him in the act with the explosives." "He'll have someone else plant them," Cole stated. "Victor's too astute to dirty his own hands." "Precisely," Agent Shun confirmed. "Which is why we're allowing the planting to occur under surveillance. Then we move when Victor arrives to trigger the detonation." Agent Shun's expression hardened. "But there's a complication. We believe Isabel might be coerced into being the trigger person." Grace, who had been silent until now, stood abruptly. "No, she provided the intel. She's attempting to assist." "Or Victor discovered she spoke to us and is using her as a suicide bomber," I finished. "Insurance, that if she betrayed him, she dies too." Agent Shun showed us a surveillance photo from that morning. Isabel walking into a storage unit, hands shaking, face pale with terror. "This was taken 3 hours ago." "That unit is registered to one of Victor's shell companies." "We have to get her out," Grace insisted. "We cannot reveal our hand. If Victor realizes we're on to him, then he kills more people," I concluded. "But Grace is right. Isabel gave us everything. We can't just let her die." Agent Shun considered this. "What are you proposing?" "A parallel operation. While you're setting up at the courthouse, Grace and I will extract Isabel. Get her somewhere safe before Victor can use her." I looked at Cole. "You coordinate the courthouse takedown. We'll handle the sister." Cole nodded. "You'll need backup." "Jackson." He asserted his belief that Victor's associates possessed the means to facilitate our entry and exit without triggering any alerts. Jackson's current circumstances involved him being under witness protection. Pulling him out of that arrangement would undoubtedly expose him to considerable danger. However, I contended that every action we were undertaking carried inherent risks. I rose to my feet, emphasizing that if we failed to apprehend Victor by the following day, he would vanish, leaving us perpetually looking over our shoulders in apprehension. 6 hours later, Jackson joined us at a discreet safe house located on the city's periphery. He appeared gaunt and visibly haunted, yet his gaze remained remarkably clear. He greeted us stating, "Heard you needed a guy who knows Victor's operation." I informed him that Isabel was being held at a storage facility and that we suspected Victor intended to coerce her into planting explosives. I then presented him with the address. "Can you get us in?" I inquired. Jackson meticulously examined the location. "Yeah, but it'll be guarded," he responded. "Victor's got at least 4 guys on rotation there. They're expecting trouble after the arrests." When asked about our strategy, he proposed, "Fast and quiet, in and out before they can radio for help." He unrolled a hand-drawn map, pointing out, "There's a back entrance through the maintenance corridor. No cameras. 1 guard usually smoking instead of watching his post." Grace discreetly checked her compact 9mm weapon, a skill she'd acquired years ago but never anticipated needing to employ. Around 4 a.m., right before shift change, they'll be tired, distracted, Jackson observed. He then turned to Grace, his expression serious, warning her, "Your sister might not want to come. Victor's good at breaking people, making them believe there's no escape." Grace firmly retorted, "Then we make her believe." At precisely 3:45 a.m., we approached the storage facility navigating through the desolate industrial district. The area was engulfed in darkness, save for the security lights casting elongated, eerie shadows. Jackson expertly guided us through a breach in the fence, leading us to the maintenance corridor. Just as he had predicted, a lone guard was present, engrossed in his phone while smoking a cigarette. While Cole would have neutralized him silently, he was currently at the courthouse, coordinating the primary operation. I moved swiftly, securing him in a chokehold until he lost consciousness. Grace efficiently secured his hands with a zip tie. "Unit 47, Jackson whispered, guiding us through a labyrinth of storage units. "Victor keeps his weapons and explosives there. If Isabel's being held anywhere, it's there." The unit was protected by 2 robust padlocks. Jackson, employing skills honed during his time in the Skulls, picked them in under a minute. The door then rolled upward with a metallic shriek that resonated deafeningly in the prevailing silence. Inside, Isabel sat on the concrete floor, surrounded by crates overflowing with C4 explosives, her wrists secured to a pipe with zip ties. Upon seeing us, a flicker of fear crossed her face. "No, you shouldn't be here. Victor has cameras." Jackson quickly reassured her. "We disabled them," as he cut her restraints. "We're getting you out." Isabel, her voice laden with urgency, cried out, "You don't understand. He has my daughter. The one I gave up for adoption. He found her. If I don't do what he says, he'll kill her." Grace immediately knelt beside her sister, asking, "Where is she?" Isabel responded, "Safe house on Maple Street. Number 2847. Victor's got 2 men watching her." Her voice broke as she added, "She's 6 years old. She doesn't even know I'm her mother. And now she's going to die because of me." I quickly retrieved my phone, texting Agent Chin the address. FBI will extract her right now, but we need to move before... Footsteps echoed from outside, multiple individuals running. Trap, Jackson hissed. He knew we'd come for her. The storage unit door slammed shut, effectively trapping us inside. Lights flared on, and on a small monitor mounted to the wall, Victor Kane's face appeared via video feed. "Hello, Ethan," he began. "I was wondering when you'd show up to play hero." His smile was chilling. "You're sitting in a room with enough C4 to level this entire block, and I have the detonator right here in my hand." Grace instinctively pulled Isabel closer. I confronted him. "You used your own wife as bait." Victor retorted, "I used a traitor as bait. There's a difference." His expression remained impassive. "Here's how this works. You have 10 minutes before the explosives detonate. In that time, you can try to disarm them, but they're rigged with motion sensors. Move the wrong crate and boom. Or you can sit there and accept your fate," I countered. "The FBI knows about the courthouse. Your plans already failed." Victor's amusement was palpable. "Has it? Or did Isabel feed you exactly what I wanted you to know?" He leaned closer to the camera. "While the FBI wastes resources protecting an empty courthouse, my real target is being hit right now. The Federal Detention Center, where they're holding my men. 50 South Side skulls about to walk free, and 100 witnesses about to disappear." The screen abruptly went black. Jackson was already inspecting the explosives. "He's not bluffing," he asserted. "These are all wired together. Military-grade setup. I can't disarm this." I immediately called Agent Shun. "Victor's real target is the detention center. Move now." Her voice was taut. "Already on it. We intercepted chatter 5 minutes ago." "But Ethan, we can't get to you in time. Bomb squad needs 20 minutes minimum." I emphasized the urgency. "We don't have 20 minutes. Grace looked at me, then at Isabel, stating, "There has to be a way." At that moment, I noticed something in the corner. A ventilation shaft, large enough for one person, perhaps two if they moved swiftly. "Jackson, can you fit through that?" I asked. He looked up saying, "Barely. Why?" I explained. "Because someone needs to get out and manually cut the power. No power means the detonator won't work." I then ripped off the grate, urging, "Go now." Jackson squeezed through the ventilation shaft, vanishing into the darkness. Grace, Isabel, and I remained in the storage unit, surrounded by enough explosives to obliterate us. 7 minutes remained. "There has to be another way," Grace said, meticulously examining the crates for some kind of override. Isabel shook her head, tears streaming down her face. "Victor designed this himself. He showed me, said, if I ever betrayed him, this is how I die. Knowing I killed people I loved." I pulled out my phone, my fingers flying across the screen. "Agent Shun, what's the status at the detention center?" Her voice, though strained, conveyed a sense of partial victory. "Under control. SWAT team stopped Victor's crew before they breached the gate. 12 arrests, including Derek Voss. But Ethan, we still can't reach you in time. Bomb squad is stuck in traffic." I pressed further. "What about Victor? Where is he?" "Unknown," she replied. "He hadn't been with the attack team, indicating he was somewhere safe. Meticulously observing, poised to trigger the button that would extinguish all our lives." 5 minutes. Jackson's voice crackled through my phone. "I found the power junction, but Ethan, it's locked in a cage. I need bolt cutters. How long if I run to the truck and back?" I mentally calculated 3 minutes, maybe 4. We simply didn't possess 4 minutes. Grace urgently grabbed my arm, reminding me. The guard outside, the one you knocked out. He had tools on his belt. I raced to the storage unit door, pounding on it. Hey, anyone out there? We need help. Silence. Then, footsteps. Multiple sets. The door began to roll upward, revealing Victor Kane and 3 armed men, all pointing their weapons directly at us. Surprised, Ethan? Victor smiled chillingly. Did you really think I'd trust a remote detonator? I prefer to watch my enemies die in person. Behind him, the guard I had knocked out lay motionless, permanently so. You killed your own man, I stated. Victor's callous response was he failed at his job, but don't worry, you'll be joining him shortly. He glanced at his watch. 3 minutes, just enough time for some final words. Isabel stepped forward, pleading, Victor, please, you loved me once. He cut her off. I loved a version of you that doesn't exist. The woman who stood by me, not the traitor who sold me out to the FBI. His expression was glacial. Your daughter, by the way, she's safe. I lied about having her. Just needed you compliant enough to lure Ethan here. A complex mixture of relief and horror washed over Isabel's face. So what now? I asked, meticulously calculating angles. 3 armed men, Victor positioned at the back. If I moved fast enough, perhaps I could... Now you watch everyone you love die because of your choices in Kandahar. Victor's voice hardened. My cousin wasn't a terrorist. He was a translator, trying to build peace between our forces and local tribes. But your commanding officer, Colonel Bradley Harper, wanted a promotion. Needed a high-value target to justify his operation budget. So he fabricated evidence and sent your team to execute an innocent man. You're lying, I insisted. Am I? Victor pulled out a tablet, displaying declassified files. Documents bearing my commanding officer's signature. Intelligence reports marked unverified. And photos of Victor's cousin with tribal leaders and American diplomats. My blood ran cold. No, we had solid intel. Victor's voice cracked with raw emotion. He was innocent, and you killed him in front of his 8-year-old son. That boy watched you put a bullet in his father's head. Watched American soldiers, heroes he'd been taught, murder his dad for trying to make peace. The room began to spin. 6 years ago, the mission in Kandahar. The target had pleaded, asserted we had it wrong, but orders were orders. I had pulled the trigger without hesitation, because that's what SEALs do. We trust our command. We execute the mission. I'm sorry, I whispered. I didn't know. Sorry doesn't bring him back, Victor spat. He raised the detonator. 2 minutes. Say goodbye to your family. Then 2 events transpired simultaneously. The lights flickered and died. Jackson had successfully cut the power. And Ranger, having tracked my scent from the safe house, crashed through the storage unit's sidewall. 90 pounds of unleashed fury launched directly at Victor's throat. Victor's men immediately opened fire in the darkness, muzzle flashes illuminating the storage unit like lightning. I instinctively grabbed Grace and Isabel, pulling them behind a crate. Bullets ricocheted off metal surfaces and sparked against concrete. Ranger had Victor pinned to the ground, his jaws clamped firmly around Victor's wrist. The detonator flew across the floor. I dove for it, my fingers closing around the cold metal. One of Victor's men, catching sight of me, raised his weapon. At that precise moment, Cole Bennett materialized in the doorway, his weapon already raised. FBI, drop it! 2 shots rang out, and both guards fell. The third fled, with Cole in swift pursuit. I held the detonator, one button, red and glowing from its battery backup. Victor's failsafe. Ranger released Victor, who lay gasping, his wrist bleeding profusely. I pressed my gun to his forehead. How do I disarm this? Victor, smiling through bloody teeth, responded, "You don't. Battery backup means the power cut delayed it, not stopped it. 1 minute. Your choice, Ethan. Kill me and die trying to figure out the code, or run, saving yourself and living with another innocent death on your conscience." Grace grabbed my arm, urging, "Ethan, we have to go." Yet I remained frozen, unable to depart. If those explosives detonated, the blast radius would encompass 3 adjacent buildings. Apartments filled with families, children, just like Victor's cousin's children, who tragically witnessed their father's death. "What's the code?" I pressed the gun harder. 6 digits. You'll never guess it in time. 30 seconds. Isabel suddenly lunged forward, snatching the detonator from my grasp. It's his son's birthday. August 14th, 2016. The day after his father died. Her fingers swiftly tapped across the keypad. August 14th, 16. The detonator screen flashed green, disarmed. Victor's face went stark white. "How did you know?" Isabel replied, "I knew your cousin before you and I met. He showed me photos of his son." She dropped the detonator. I've carried that guilt for 6 years, knowing I married the man planning revenge for a death I couldn't prevent. FBI and DA teams swarmed the storage unit. Agent Chin cuffed Victor, while Cole methodically secured the explosives. Jackson emerged from the maintenance corridor, bolt cutters in hand, 3 minutes too late, but grinning nonetheless. "Told you I'd got the power." Cooked. 2. "Is it over? Please tell me it's over." I looked at Victor. Being dragged away, his empire dismantled, his quest for vengeance failed. My gaze shifted to Isabel, who, despite everything, had saved us all, then to Ranger, panting contentedly, as if he'd just played fetch, not helped save our lives. "Yeah," I said quietly, "it's over." But even as I uttered the words, I recognized the profound truth. Victor's statements had planted a seed within me that would not die. Questions about Kandahar, about my commanding officer, about whether I was the hero or the villain in someone else's narrative. Some conflicts, it seemed, never truly cease. 3 weeks later, I sat in a federal courtroom, observing Victor Kane's trial. The room was packed with FBI agents, DEA officials, prosecutors, and dozens of reporters. Agent Chin sat beside me, a thick folder of evidence resting on her lap. "How's your family?" she asked softly. "Hailing. Grace and Isabel are slowly talking again. Luna still experiences nightmares, but her therapist confirms she's making progress." I paused. "Owen is thriving. Doctors say there's no lasting damage from the insulin poisoning. And you?" I didn't answer, for the truth was complex. Victor's words about Kandahar had burrowed into my mind, festering. I had requested the classified files from that mission, and they confirmed Victor's claim. My commanding officer had fabricated intelligence to justify the kill order. The man I had executed wasn't a terrorist. He was a translator attempting to broker peace. "Mr. Cross," the prosecutor approached. "You're up next, ready to testify." I nodded, rising. Walking to the witness stand felt like moving through water. Every eye in the courtroom followed me, including Victor's. He sat at the defense table in an orange jumpsuit, his face devoid of expression. The prosecutor commenced questioning me about the parking lot attack, the kidnapping attempts, the storage unit bomb plot. I answered mechanically, stating facts, but my mind was elsewhere. On that night in Kandahar 6 years ago, on the moment I had pulled the trigger. Mr. Cross, the prosecutor continued, did the defendant, Victor Kane, explicitly threaten to kill your family? Yes. And did he attempt to carry out those threats? Yes. Victor's lawyer rose for cross-examination. He was expensive, tailored suit, silver hair, a practiced smile. Mr. Cross, you're a Navy SEAL, is that correct? Former SEAL. You've killed people in the line of duty. Yes. How many? The prosecutor objected, but the judge allowed it. I met Victor's eyes. 14 confirmed, including my client's cousin in Kandahar, Afghanistan, correct? The courtroom fell silent. Yes, a man who turned out to be innocent, a translator working for peace, not a terrorist. The lawyer's voice intensified. My client's entire vendetta against you stems from your murder of an innocent civilian. Doesn't that make you the aggressor in this situation? Objection! The prosecutor was on his feet, but the damage was done. The jury now looked at me differently, not as a victim, but as a killer who had ignited a cycle of revenge. After 3 days of testimony, the jury deliberated for 6 hours. They found Victor Kane guilty on 42 counts: attempted murder, kidnapping, drug trafficking, weapons charges, and conspiracy to commit terrorism. The judge sentenced him to 45 years in federal prison without the possibility of parole. Derek Voss received 20 years. Marcus Webb, the corrupt FBI agent, got 30. Jackson Ford was granted immunity for his cooperation and disappeared into witness protection. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. I pushed through them to where Grace waited with Luna and Owen. Ranger walked beside me, his service vest keeping the crowd at bay. Is it over? Luna asked, clutching her mother's hand. Yeah, baby, it's over. But Cole pulled me aside before we reached the car. There's something you need to see. He handed me a sealed envelope. It arrived at FBI headquarters this morning, addressed to you from Isabel. I opened it. Inside were a handwritten letter and a photograph. Ethan, I'm writing this from a women's shelter 3 states away. The FBI helped me disappear after I testified. I can never thank you enough for saving my life and helping me find the courage to leave Victor's world. But there's something you should know. Something Victor never told you because he wanted you to suffer with guilt. The photo depicted Victor's cousin, the man I had killed in Kandahar, with known Taliban commanders. It had been taken 2 weeks before his death. I found it hidden in Victor's safe after his arrest. Your commanding officer was right. Victor's cousin was working with the Taliban. But he was also trying to play both sides, feeding information to terrorists while pretending to broker peace with American forces. Victor knew this, but he lied to you because the truth wouldn't serve his revenge. You were a soldier, following orders to eliminate a legitimate threat. You are not a murderer. You are a hero who protected countless lives. I hope this brings you peace, Isabel. I stared at the photograph. Clear evidence of Victor's cousin meeting with Taliban leadership, weapons visible, plans being discussed. My hands trembled. She risked everything to get this to you, Cole said quietly. Had to break into Victor's property before the FBI seized it. Wanted you to know the truth. The crushing weight I'd carried for 3 weeks began to lift. Not completely. I had still taken a life, and that never got easier. But I hadn't murdered an innocent man. The mission had been legitimate. My actions had saved American soldiers. Grace saw my face and understood something had shifted. What is it? Closure, I stated simply. 6 months passed. Life gradually returned to normal. Luna resumed school with a trauma-trained service dog, a younger K9 that Ranger helped train. Owen grew into a healthy, happy baby. Grace and Isabel communicated weekly, rebuilding their fractured relationship. Ranger retired from active duty and became a full-time family dog, though he still patrolled our house every night, as protective as ever. I officially left the Navy and started a security consulting business with Cole, specializing in safeguarding families targeted by organized crime. Jackson occasionally called from witness protection, checking in, ensuring our well-being. Victor Kane remained in a maximum security federal prison, his empire dismantled, his name a cautionary tale. As for me, I learned that justice isn't always clean, that revenge is a poison, destroying everyone it touches. That family, whether by blood or by choice, is worth fighting for. Luna once asked me if I was scared during everything that happened. I told her the truth. Every single day. But being brave doesn't mean you're not scared. It means you keep going anyway. She's now writing a story about it for school, calling it The Dog Who Saved My Family. Her teacher says it's the best thing she's ever read from an 8-year-old. Sometimes, I still wake up at night, heart pounding, instinctively reaching for a weapon that isn't there. Grace holds me until the panic subsides, reminding me we're safe, that the nightmare is over, and most days, I believe her. 1 year later, I stood in my backyard, watching Luna play with Ranger. She was laughing, truly laughing, for the first time since the attack. Owen toddled across the grass, chasing butterflies with chubby hands. Grace stood beside me, her hand in mine. Do you ever think about it? She asked softly. Everything that happened. Every day. I squeezed her hand, but not with fear anymore, with gratitude. Gratitude that we survived, that our family is stronger, that Luna learned she's braver than she ever knew. I turned to face her. Victor wanted to destroy us. Instead, he showed us what we're capable of when we fight for the people we love. Grace smiled, tears glistening in her eyes. Isabel called yesterday. She's enrolled in college, studying social work, wants to help women escape abusive relationships. That's good. She deserves a second chance. Cole arrived for our weekly barbecue, bringing his sister, who had been cancer-free for 8 months now. Jackson video called from his new life in Montana. Unrecognizable with a beard and glasses, but smiling wider than I'd ever seen. Got a job at a youth center, he told us. Teaching kids there's always a way out, no matter how dark things get. As the sun set, I gathered everyone around the fire pit. Luna sat on my lap. Owen, asleep in Grace's arms. These moments, ordinary, peaceful, safe, were what I'd fought for, what Ranger had protected, what we nearly lost. I want to tell you something, I said to Luna about being afraid. She looked up at me with those serious 8-year-old eyes. Were you scared when the bad men came? Terrified. But you know what I learned? Fear isn't the enemy. Giving up is. You kept fighting. You kept believing we'd save you. That's real courage. This narrative, more compelling than any fiction, felt profoundly real. especially as I kissed her forehead, acknowledging her as my hero. Grace gently dabbed the tears from her cheeks, while Cole commemorated the moment with a silent raised beer. From a video screen, Jackson offered a wave, and Ranger, even in tranquility, laid his head protectively at Luna's feet. Victor Kane was destined to spend his remaining days incarcerated, his vast enterprise reduced to rubble. Derek, Marcus, and 52 other members of the South Side Skulls were already serving extensive prison terms. The ethically compromised judge who had previously granted Victor bail was now under federal investigation. Justice, though never arriving in a perfect form, had been adequately served. As the fire crackled and stars began to pepper the sky above, a profound realization dawned on me. Victor's scheme for retribution had faltered not because of our superior strength or intellect, but because we possessed something he utterly failed to grasp: an unyielding love that resisted disintegration, even when confronted with insurmountable pressure. Family, I understood, transcends mere blood ties. It encompasses those individuals who stand steadfastly by your side when all else crumbles, who risk their very lives to safeguard yours, who extend forgiveness for the unforgivable, and who tirelessly rebuild from the depths of ruin. Luna, yawning, snuggled closer. "Daddy, will there be more bad people?" she murmured. "Perhaps," I replied. "But there will always be even more good people as well, like Agent Chun, who protected us, and Jackson, who chose a better path, and Aunt Isabel, who ultimately saved us all." My gaze met Grace's. "Just like your mom, who is the strongest person I know. And you and Ranger," Looney added sleepily. "Yes, indeed. Me and Ranger," I affirmed, as we gently carried the children indoors and meticulously secured the doors. A routine I still performed with extreme caution each night. My thoughts drifted back to the question Victor had posed in that storage unit. Was I a hero or a villain? The answer now seemed far simpler than I had once imagined. I was a father, a husband, a man who, despite making mistakes, relentlessly fought to protect the people he cherished. That, I concluded, was more than enough. Grace and I lingered in the hallway, watching Luna sleep soundly with her service dog curled serenely by her bedside. Owen's baby monitor confirmed his peaceful slumber in his crib. Ranger conducted one final patrol downstairs before settling obediently by our bedroom door. Quote, Grace whispered softly. Quote one I echoed. And for the first time in an entire year, I finally succumbed to sleep unburdened by nightmares. The Yandandi. Now here's what truly piques my interest, and I genuinely value your input. Have you ever found yourself in a position where you had to fiercely protect a loved one against seemingly insurmountable odds? What actions would you take if your family's safety were jeopardized? Please share your reflections in the comments section below. I personally read every single one, and if this story captivated you, if you intimately experienced every flicker of fear, every spark of hope, and every moment of triumph alongside Ethan and his family, please do me a favor. Hit that like button and subscribe. Your unwavering support means the world to me and empowers me to continue bringing you more extraordinary narratives like this one. Also, and this is crucial, tell me in the comments what types of stories you'd like to explore next. Are you craving more military revenge thrillers, intricate family betrayal sagas, or compelling undercover operations? I meticulously craft content based on your preferences. So let me know what truly ignites your passion, and I promise to deliver exactly that. Don't forget to mention where you're tuning in from. I absolutely love watching our community expand across the globe. Are you joining us from New York, London, Tokyo, or Mumbai? Please share your city or country below. Until our next encounter, stay safe, protect those you hold dear, and always remember, courage isn't the absence of fear, but the unwavering commitment to fight through it. Anyway, I'll catch you in the next thrilling adventure. Take care.